This is a Tabernacle Tidbit, a bite-sized Tabernacle Talk of 5 minutes or less to help you get through your day when you only have a little bit of time. We hope this helps you to know Christ, grow in His Word, and show His love to others. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to Tabernacle Tidbits. Today we are in 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse number 6. The Apostle Paul, writing from prison, one of his final letters that he would ever write, he's writing to his son in the faith, Timothy, and he is encouraging him as both a pastor and a believer in Jesus. He's warning him about some types of people that he's going to interact with, that he needs to, as he said in verse number 5, as we heard yesterday, he needs to avoid these types of people. And he gives an additional subset of these kinds of people to avoid in verse number 6. Just very summarizing verses 2 through 5. The kinds of people we are to avoid are ones that do not love God. Instead, they just love themselves. They care about what they want. They don't have a love or kindness or forgiveness or loyalty to other people. Their only loyalty is to themselves. And so verse number 6 says, "For among them, these types of people that we're to avoid are those who worm their way into households and deceive gullible women, overwhelmed by sins and led astray by a variety of passions." So I want to get one thing right here, where it says that these worm their way into households and deceive gullible women, overwhelmed by sins. Here, this is not saying all women are gullible. This is not saying all women are overwhelmed by sins. There are godly women that are not gullible, that hold everything up to the light of God's word and to the Spirit of God. And as 1 John 4 tells us, they test the spirits, whether they are from God. And so it's not saying all women do that. And it's not saying that men, on the other hand, they're not gullible. They're always right on. Frankly, every single one of us, outside of Eden, outside of God's presence, we can all be tricked and duped at times. But here, what's being said is these kinds of evil people that Timothy is to avoid associating with, they like to prey on people who are easy targets. We see this in our world in like financial ways, that you get emails to the elderly that are saying, "Hey, I'm a prince from Zimbabwe, and if you just send me $1,000, I'll be able to get my inheritance from my father, and then I'll give you, $50 million. And people believe them, or they say, "Hey, I'm from the IRS, and you really need to send this in," and so they do, and then they lose their money. So we know about that in like a financial sense, that sometimes when people are unfamiliar with systems or processes, how they can sometimes be duped. The same type of thing is true for us spiritually, that there are people who are spiritually immature and in danger. And there are those who will use others' immaturity or others' propensity towards some particular temptations and sins and evils that they're struggling with. And ungodly people, especially ungodly teachers, or even if they don't have an official teaching role, people that portray themselves to be, "Oh yeah, I'm a really spiritual person. Here, let me give you some advice on this." And the way that Paul talks about it here is they worm their way. They sneak their way in. It's like a person making the picture that's coming to mind right now is the wooden horse that goes into the city of Troy. They worm their way. They trick their way into homes to have a permanent presence, or not even necessarily permanent presence, but to have a continual presence in people's lives, that they get in close with a person. They build relationships with another person that's immature in the faith. And it says they deceive, they lead them away, they take them captive, they captivate. Here it says gullible women, people that just accept whatever someone else says. They don't hold it up to the light of God's word and to the Spirit of God. They don't ask spiritually mature pastors and leaders within their life if these things are true. And as a result, they are led away from the Lord and led away from a close walk with Him by these people. And it says that these that are gullible, they are overwhelmed by sins. If you will, when we allow sin to run rampant in our life, we are so much more susceptible to false doctrine. We will begin to believe that it's okay to do this and to say this and to be here and to be with these people if we are continually telling God, no, I'm not going to obey your word. I'm going to live in sin. Then we begin to believe, and it's not that bad that I'm in sin. And he says at the end of the verse, and led astray by a variety of passions, that they want what they don't currently have. They want the good life. They want love. They want finances. They want this or that. And those that we are to avoid, they prey on spiritually immature people. They look at the people that are struggling with sin and they go, oh yeah, I'm going to spend quite a bit of time with them, not to encourage them in godliness, but so that I can lead them astray and captivate them so that they keep on doing what they're doing and I benefit from it. Let us avoid these types of evil people, and instead let's be those that point to Jesus and that we live holy lives. Thanks for tuning in today. Tomorrow we'll continue the sentence in verse number 7.